New overnight, Senate Republicans agree to give the woman accusing President Trump's Supreme Court nominee one more day to decide whether or not she'll testify. What's next, whether that does or does not happen. Plus, ripped up roads and wall-to-wall construction isn't stopping an annual festival from taking place on Monroe Street this weekend. And our Jay Wilson breaks down 3 things to watch for as the Badgers take the field under the lights for the first Big Ten matchup of the season.
This is News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 This Morning, Saturday. It is 5 a.m. on this September 22nd. I'm Josh Breder alongside meteorologist Chris Reese, who's just a little excited for fall kicking off.
I am very excited. Here's my mug. Best friend got me this as graduation gift, full of apple cider this morning. And I've got my fall boots on. We don't take it lightly around here. No,
and already
I'm ready.
Feeling like
and
it out there.
feels like
crisp.
it too.
I love
yeah.
it.
Temperatures are in the low 40s this morning. We are not the coldest place here in South Central Wisconsin. Just wait for that in just a second. Calm winds and clear skies is a key recipe for those temperatures to drop, and they have done so in a lot of places. Black River Falls is at the freezing mark this morning. 32 degrees, 38 degrees in Watoma. The Dells in the upper 30s as well. Same over to Juneau and Sheboygan. Otherwise, it's the low 40s for a lot of us. 41 in Waukesha, and of course 42 here in Madison. But check out the difference in temperature over the past 24 hours. We are 26 degrees cooler than this time yesterday. That makes you say, whoo, when we step outside. A blast from the past. I didn't use my heated seats yet. We're not there. It's not that cool, but nonetheless, we have a lot of clear skies out there, so we're going to keep the sunshine around all day. Only a little bit of snow north into southern Canada and some light rain south over Kentucky, Illinois, and parts of southern Missouri as well. But with that sunshine around, that also means we're going to warm up pretty well this afternoon. They'll stay in cool. 60 degrees by noon and then 66 by the afternoon.
There's something about those crisp mornings. It just feels so fresh outside.
It really does, and it puts me in a good mood. It's one of those things where you just step out and feel happy to be alive. That's your weekend, folks, so get out and enjoy it if you have the chance.
All right, Chris, thank you.
No problem.
We begin this morning in Washington, where Senate Judiciary Committee Chair Chuck Grassley agreed overnight to give the woman accusing Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh of sexual assault another day to decide if she'll testify. The appellate judge has denied Christine Blasey Ford's claims he put his hand over her mouth and groped her at a high school party. Republicans on the Senate committee rejected Ford's request for a full FBI investigation and went ahead with their own probe. 75 female friends and colleagues gathered Friday to show support for Kavanaugh.
The reason that we know that this allegation is false is because we know Brett Kavanaugh.
After several days of restraint, the president is now questioning Ford's story, tweeting, "If the attack on Dr. Ford was as bad as she says, charges would have been filed with local authorities by her or her loving parents." Still, some Republicans remain confident about the outcome.
In the very near future, Judge Kavanaugh will be on the United States Supreme Court.
Republicans want Kavanaugh confirmed before the Supreme Court begins its new session on October 1st. Right now, Wisconsin politicians are responding to Wednesday's shooting at an office building in Middleton. This, of course, comes just ahead of the upcoming November election. U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin said the shooting shows the need for new gun control measures. She says she's a gun owner, but the Second Amendment is consistent with stronger safety regulations. And a spokesperson for State Senator Leah Vukmir, who's running against Baldwin in November, says, quote, "Senator Baldwin is forever giving meaningless lip service to a very serious issue." In response to the shooting, students and community members are hosting a die-in tomorrow. It's a protest against gun violence taking place inside the state capitol. The rally starts on Sunday at 3 o'clock. Organizations like Save Our Students Madison and March for Our Lives are helping to organize the protest. We are learning new information about the 4 officers who confronted the shooter in Middleton this week. The city's chief of police calls their actions heroic. The Middleton Police Department has identified them as Officer Richard O'Connor and Officer Tyler Lowther. Officer O'Connor has been with the department since 1998 and is actually an active shooter response trainer. Officer Lowther has been with the department since 2012 and is the current school resource officer at Middleton High School. The other two Dane County Sheriff's Office deputies, David Lambrecht and Matthew Earl. Deputy Lambrecht has been with the department for 21 years, Deputy Earl for 11. All four officers involved are on paid administrative leave, standard protocol, until the investigation is complete. We're also learning more about Middleton shooter Anthony Tong, including a disturbing incident from his past. News 3 obtained court documents detailing a welfare check in Sioux Falls, South Dakota back in 2004 where Tong lived. His landlord called police after Tong disabled several smoke detectors. The documents describe Tong as acting very odd, holding a handgun and telling police the smoke detectors were used to eavesdrop on him. Officers then discovered more than 1,000 rounds of ammunition along with an AR-15 rifle.
Based on that incident, Tong had his concealed carry permit revoked. And based upon that history, Tong was unable to legally purchase a firearm.
According to a search warrant document released publicly on Friday, inside Tong's home on the far west side, investigators found several gun parts, hundreds of rounds of ammo, a gun-making kit, and Kevlar vests. Police say the weapon used in Wednesday's shooting was, quote, unique, making it more difficult for the ATF to track down the seller.
And investigators have been or will be speaking to coworkers, acquaintances, and family. The family is out of state. They have been interviewed by the FBI, but certainly investigators from Division of Criminal Investigation want to do more in-depth interviews and to try to find out if in some way they can determine a motive. But as of now, a motive has not been determined.
In a statement, WTS Paradigm says Tong was an employee in good standing, was not facing any sort of disciplinary action. As for 3 victims remaining in the hospital, there is some good news this morning. The police chief says they are all expected to survive even after one of them was shot 10 times. 2 of them have been updated to good condition. A third is listed in fair condition. For anyone who was impacted by this event, directly or indirectly, there are trauma specialists available to talk right now. For help, call one of the numbers listed right there on your screen. You can also find them on our website, channel3000.com. In other news this morning, Madison city leaders are now demanding answers after ICE officials arrested 6 people in the Madison area Friday. Police Chief Mike Koval says the federal officials broke procedure by not notifying his department ahead of time. Koval says he doesn't know why the people were arrested or where they're being held. He says this has never happened in years past.
Since this is relatively a departure from what we've seen historically, and it's one that I hope that we can reconcile working through their chain of command in the future.
Madison city officials are offering legal services for anyone impacted by yesterday's arrests. You can find out how to get in contact with representatives on our website, channel3000.com. The Badgers are out of town this weekend, taking on the Hawkeyes in Iowa City. It's the first Big Ten game of the season for the Badgers, who are now sitting at 18th in the latest AP poll. This, of course, comes after last week's disappointing loss to BYU. News 3 Sports Director's Jay Wilson has 3 things to watch for in tonight's game.
When the Badgers play at Iowa tonight at 7:30, here are 3 things to watch. Will Alex Hornibrook recover from a subpar day and a surprising loss to BYU last Saturday? Hornibrook and the Badger offense never got it going last week. They hope to reestablish the explosive running of Jonathan Taylor and perhaps get Danny Davis more involved in the passing game after his return from suspension last week. Now, the Badgers will face the Dean of Big Ten coaches, Kirk Ferentz, in his 20th season as Iowa's head coach. He has his team off to a 3-0 start. The winner of the Iowa-Wisconsin game the last 4 years has gone on to represent the West Division in the Big Ten championship game in December, and it sure looks like that could be the case again this season. For the Badgers, winning at Kinnick Stadium at night will be a huge challenge. In the last couple of years, Michigan and Ohio State were ranked in the top 5 of the nation before the Hawkeyes beat them both at night at Kinnick. But the Badgers have handled things well in Iowa City, quite well, thank you. Wisconsin has beaten Iowa their last 4 meetings at the home of the Hawkeyes. And those are 3 things to watch for in Wisconsin and Iowa tonight.
Iowa is unranked, but always gives teams a hard time when they're at home, including a big upset over Iowa State last year. Kickoff is set for 7:30 tonight. The Green Bay Packers will also be away this weekend, facing off against the Washington Redskins tomorrow afternoon. All eyes are again on the knee of Aaron Rodgers. Just like last week, there's still a chance he will play. He is scheduled to practice today, although his condition is still listed as questionable. The team is taking a day-by-day approach, seeing how he feels every day. The Packers kick off tomorrow at noon. We have a couple First Alert traffic notes to pass along this weekend. First off, West Gorham will be down to one lane at State Street for pavement repairs. That starts at 7 this morning, running until 7 Monday morning. If you're heading downtown, you should expect delays in that area. Work on the Interstate Bridge over Milton Avenue in Janesville starts today as well. You can expect some overnight closures in that area from 7 p.m. tonight until 7 Sunday morning. Work there is part of the I-3990 expansion project. And even though the pavement is still torn up along Monroe Street in Madison, the 41st annual Monroe Street Festival will happen this weekend. This year, the Madison Arts Commission and the Monroe Street's Merchants Association will reveal a new mosaic mural called Passing Through Time. That will end up along the Southwest commuter path in that area. The festival runs from 9:30 until 5 today. If sampling authentic German beer is more your style, the Isthmus Oktoberfest is set for today. From 3 to 7, go to Bree Stevens Field for the 4th annual celebration. Each attendee gets a souvenir stein for limited beer and wine samples. Your ticket also includes a German-style box lunch, polka music, DJ, and plenty of fest games. Coming up on 5/12, it is the last day of summer and the temperatures are already starting to feel like it out there. Here's a live look over the Capitol this Saturday morning. With this week's rain behind us, shoppers are in for a sunny day at the market. A very crisp morning to start us off, though. Chris is in next with his full forecast. And witches and warlocks hit the big screen ahead of Halloween. We have Will Loper's review of the feature film adaptation of a children's classic. You're watching News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Well, good morning to you on these last hours of summer. I can see my breath out here, so there's a little bit of a chill in the air after our first fall cold front came through, and right on time because the first day of fall does occur today. The autumnal equinox will occur at 8:54 p.m. That's when you get an even amount of daylight and dark hours today, and the earth is neither turned towards or away from the sun. But we are going to begin turning away from the sun as we begin to head into the cool season. Temperatures much cooler this morning as opposed to yesterday morning. In fact, we are 26 degrees cooler right now in Madison. That is where the temperature is 42 degrees. Check out Black River Falls. The temperature at freezing there with the temperature of 32. Some upper 30s also showing up just to our north, more lower 40s right around us, and some upper 40s closer towards the Illinois state line. But of course, Madison, 42 degrees. The clear skies and the calm wind, really the perfect recipe to help those temperatures fall as they have done so today as well. That dew point of 40 is keeping temperatures a little bit on the lower side. But those winds initially out of the north before they begin to calm down will be turning out of the south today, and we're really going to be increasing that southerly wind component as we head into Sunday as well. So that's where we're going to see our temperatures begin to warm some. 66 degrees today, not as mild overnight tonight, and then tomorrow we'll see our temperatures returning into the 70s for those highs. But as this region of high pressure that's in control of us, that region of high pressure over us is responsible for the cool weather. But as that begins to work its way towards the south and east, that's where we'll see temperatures that warm up a little bit towards next week. But the next cold front comes in, and that is going to keep things cool. That's really also going to allow a lot of those fall colors to show off. We're seeing more and more counties begin to show up on that, and Green Bay and Wausau, if you begin to head up there, you're going to see a lot more in the way of that color. Of course, here in Madison and in places like Milwaukee, the fall color is still on the patchy side of things. But 66 degrees this afternoon. Let's go ahead and show you the next 7 to 10 days. 71 by Sunday. A next rain chance comes in Monday night into Tuesday with temperatures in the 60s. Pretty chilly as we get you towards next weekend as well. Our first temperatures in the 30s could show up by then.
My favorite time of year, Chris.
Yes, it is. It's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, Chris, thank you.
My pleasure.
Telemundo has released its list of nominees and performers for the 4th Annual Latin Music Awards. Ozuna and J Balvin lead the pack of nominees, nabbing 9 each. Ozuna is the most viewed artist globally on YouTube. Cardi B is among the performers set to appear on the show, along with Mr. Worldwide himself, Pitbull, as well as Flo Rida. The fan-voted award show will broadcast live from Hollywood on October 25th.
A renegade soldier when I see one. Never occurred to me that one might come from above.
And this week, we're getting a first glimpse at the latest superhero movie trailer. Marvel Studios has released a teaser for their next comic book-based film, Captain Marvel. Brie Larson stars as Carol Danvers, an Air Force pilot who becomes one of the most powerful heroes in the universe. The 1990s set adventure is Marvel's first female-led film. Jude Law co-stars and Samuel L. Jackson returns as Nick Fury. Captain Marvel blasts into theaters next March. This weekend, a big screen adaptation of a classic children's novel about witches and warlocks is showing in theaters just in time for the Halloween season. It involves Jack Black throwing fireballs, Cate Blanchett with a magic purple umbrella, and evil demon pumpkins that have come to life. Will Loper takes us inside the house with a clock in its walls.
Have a look around. You're perfectly safe.
That's safe?
As long as it's fed. Do you know what a warlock is, Lewis?
A boy witch.
I think they're a little more than boy witches.
Are you saying that you're a warlock?
Jack Black plays a warlock trying to figure out where a mysterious ticking in his house is coming from.
Do you hear the ticking? Ticking.
This house used to be owned by another warlock.
He's very wicked, very powerful.
He left a hidden clock in the walls. We don't know what it does, except something horrible.
The house with a clock in its walls is rated PG.
Shall we?
God, I hate pumpkins.
Did you see that?
5:20 is your time right now. It's a walk to remember. Mark your calendars for the walk to end Alzheimer's just a couple of weeks away. You can join in on this year's quest for a cure. And targeting teens and e-cigarettes, the new initiative from the FDA cracking down on the growing number of kids vaping. That's next on News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Good Saturday morning to all of you out there. Chilly to start. The temperature 42 degrees right now in Madison. We're going to see a trend that takes temperatures back into the 60s as we head into the afternoon. We could think a southerly wind component coming back into the picture for that. That's also going to be coupled with a lot of sunshine today and perhaps a few decorator clouds into the afternoon as temperatures top out right around 66 degrees. It's going to be the theme of the weekend with 70s returning by Sunday and our next chances for rain Monday and into Tuesday. We're going to break that all down in Maine weather in about 10 to 15 minutes. Josh?
All right, Chris, thank you. 5:24 this morning. More than 100,000 Wisconsinites are living with Alzheimer's or dementia. Right now, there's an important effort happening to fund research that could hopefully lead to a cure. News 3 is a proud sponsor of the Walk to End Alzheimer's. It's happening at Memorial High School on Sunday, October 7th. Walkers have raised more than $90,000 so far. That's nearly half of the $200,000 goal for the event. If you'd like to join in, you can find out more information online at alz.org. With more and more teenagers vaping, the FDA is launching a hard-hitting campaign aimed at keeping young people from using e-cigarettes. Government health officials hope graphic messages will educate teens about the dangers of e-cigarettes to prevent them from vaping. The FDA's Real Cost campaign targets the more than 10 million 12 to 17-year-olds who have vaped before or are open to trying.
Just telling kids that something is bad for you has never worked. Giving them a graphic visual understanding of it to undercut the marketing that has made it so cool and so appealing is precisely the kind of message the kids will understand.
Kids who experiment with vaping are more likely to go on to smoking cigarettes. New evidence shows e-cigs are being used to deliver marijuana to kids as well. Coming up on 526 right now, there is more to come here on News 3 This Morning. Your top stories are next, including a preview of tonight's Badger game, the first under the lights. And area veterans will get the recognition they deserve as they take off this morning to tour the national monuments in their honor. We're live at the Dane County Regional Airport ahead of this Badger honor flight. Thanks for watching News 3 This Morning Saturday. A call for action, how a moving scam left a local family without their treasured belongings. It's a News 3 investigation.
This is News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Good morning and welcome back to News 3 This Morning Saturday. It is 5:30 on this August 22nd. I'm Josh Brighter. Meteorologist Chris Reese has a very pleasant weekend forecast just ahead, but first, here's what's happening right now. Senate Judiciary Committee Chair Chuck Grassley has extended the deadline to today for Christine Blasey Ford to decide whether she will testify. This is about the allegation Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh sexually assaulted her when they were teenagers. Kavanaugh has consistently denied those claims that he put his hand over her mouth and groped her at a high school party. Republicans on the Senate committee rejected Ford's request for a full FBI investigation and went ahead with their own probe. They want Kavanaugh confirmed before the Supreme Court begins its new session on October 1st. In response to the Middleton office shooting Wednesday, students and community members are hosting a die-in this weekend. It's a protest against gun violence taking place inside the state capitol tomorrow. The rally starts at 3. Organizers like Save Our Students Madison and March for Our Lives are helping to organize that protest. The Badgers are on the road tonight under the lights, taking on the Hawkeyes in Iowa City. It's the first Big Ten game of the season for the Badgers, who are now sitting at 18th in the latest AP poll after last week's disappointing loss to BYU. Iowa is unranked, but always give teams a hard time when they're at home, including a big upset of Ohio State last year. Kickoff is at 7:30 tonight. We have a first alert traffic note for drivers heading downtown this weekend. West Gorham will be down to 1 lane at State Street. This is for pavement repairs. That starts at 7 this morning, running until 7 a.m. Monday. If you're hitting that area, you should expect some delays. 5:31 right now. Let's send it over to meteorologist Chris Reese. Fall kicking off later today. Chris, feeling like it out there.
It sure does. Already right on time. A fall cold front came through, so temperatures are much on the cooler side. 42 degrees right now. We had clearing skies last night, and those winds relaxed. That really allows those temperatures to come down. A dew point of 40. I've already been shocked a couple times, so yes, that air is certainly dry out there. Black River Falls, they are at the freezing mark this morning, and it's colder as you work your way farther to the north. 45 for our friends over in Janesville. And to get this, temperatures are basically 20 to 30 degrees cooler than they were yesterday at this time. So that shows you the nature of how much cooler the air that moved in is compared to the air that we had. But nonetheless, we are dealing with sunshine here, a little bit of snow to our north and southern Canada, a little bit of light rain across the mid-south. But we have the sunshine. That's the theme that's going to stick with us all day long. So as we go through the morning, 42 to 60 degrees by lunchtime. We'll see temperatures in the mid-60s for those afternoon highs, with winds out of the southeast at 6 to 10 miles per hour. Traffic-wise, if you are going to be headed out early this morning, so far things are light. There are no major issues showing up on the Beltline or across Dane County as a whole. Josh?
Thanks, Chris. Madison schools have confirmed a 15-year-old was arrested for a shooting on a city bus. And they say he was in fact inside La Follette High School for a brief time. In a letter to parents, the school says that student was let in a side door by another student on Wednesday against protocol. That 15-year-old who had the gun will likely be expelled. La Follette, Senate Middle School, and Monona Grove High School were all locked down Wednesday evening after a shot was fired on a Madison Metro bus. The teen allegedly accidentally shot another student in the leg on that bus. The school is also taking follow-up actions with the student who opened the door. Students at Lakeview Elementary School found a BB gun Friday in the forest on school property. In a letter to parents, the principal says the students did an excellent job reporting it and the students were sent inside. The district says it will provide updates as police investigate. Dozens of area veterans are at the Dane County Regional Airport this morning. Here's a live picture of a welcome ceremony just kicking off before this morning's Badger Honor Flight takes off. The Badger Honor Flight is part of the National Honor Flight Network, which works to send all World War II, Korean War, and Vietnam War veterans to Washington, D.C. to see the memorials built in their honor. The flight, honorary shirts, jackets, and hats, as well as meals, are completely free to all veterans. This morning's flight is set to take off at 7 this morning. The veterans on board will arrive in D.C. around 10, and after a full day of sightseeing and special ceremonies, they're scheduled to arrive back in Madison just before 9 tonight. 5:34 right now. A Wisconsin man is out almost $10,000 plus all of his belongings after trusting a company to help him make the move to Florida. Consumer advocates we talked to say this could happen to you or anyone. Arlie Lynchide has this call for action report.
I'm a Wisconsin guy through and through.
It's a move Chris Bauman never expected to make.
It was a fresh start I think our entire family needed.
But family circumstances sent his family packing in favor of Florida. Fast forward 3 months, though, 87 days to be exact, and Chris's move isn't over. His Panama City beach house is empty. When Chris first researched moving companies to deliver his family's belongings the 1,000 miles south, he went with Titan Moving and Storage, based in Virginia, with a spotless record in online reviews.
My wife and I even looked at each other, I remember at one point in the call, and said, "This sounds really good."
When the moving truck showed up to his Lake Mills home, though, the company's estimate suddenly doubled.
My price, and they discounted it, still ended up at $12,000. The original estimate, $6,270.
Chris had to pay $9,000 of that up front, but Titan wouldn't take a credit card. Instead, he had to wire transfer the money.
So we agreed to it. Never in my wildest dreams did I still really think of dealing with somebody that's going to steal our property.
Then, after weeks of waiting and back and forth calls and what Chris considers delay tactics, Chris's family is still without their stuff, upwards of $100,000 of sometimes priceless belongings.
Thank you for choosing Titan Moving and Storage.
I am calling on behalf of one of your customers who has not yet received his belongings.
When we tried to call Titan, they refused to give us any information about Chris's case.
This is a form of holding your belongings hostage.
These companies can fool people like Chris by copying someone else's identity.
They will try and hijack those reputable names to give themselves credibility.
There were red flags. There were red flags.
What are some of those red flags that you should catch if you ever consider a move? We asked the folks over at DACAP for their advice.
If they won't come and actually view your belongings to give you a written estimate of what it'll cost to move, they'll just quote it over the phone based on a conversation. That is one initial red flag.
Chris talked to salesmen on the phone, who then changed their tune when they showed up.
Do they show up with a legitimate truck that they own, or do they show up with a rental vehicle, such as one that anyone would move apartment to apartment in the same city?
Chris says in his case, it was the latter.
Being in a Penske truck, that should have been a red flag right there.
Maybe the most logical piece of advice?
Checking out their website. That may or may not help you in doing some of that research up front. Do they have a legitimate presence, a real office?
If you're moving across state lines, check to make sure the company's registered with the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, and check the address of the institution to see if it's even real. Here's a look at the address Titan gave Chris. It's an empty building.
When you've been victimized and you feel the pain of it, you want to become an advocate to make sure this doesn't happen to other people.
Chris isn't sure talking to us will get this company moving to get him back his stuff, but maybe it will warn the next family.
Had I seen stories like this over and over and paid attention to them and heard them, when this move came, I would not have made these mistakes. I would have trusted my instincts.
In Madison, I'm Leah Lynchide with WISC News 3.
Chris says the latest he's heard from Titan is his stuff is in a storage garage somewhere in Indianapolis. The company, though, won't give him the address. 5:38 right now. To infinity and beyond. Elon Musk and SpaceX are launching a mission to the moon, and one very rich man is already on board. We'll hear from the Japanese businessman who has already secured his ticket. How soon the big Falcon rocket could take off on News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Good morning on this chilly Saturday. Temperatures starting out into the low 40s. Headed into the afternoon, though, we'll see those temperatures begin to rebound into the mid 60s. For those afternoon highs, there will be plenty of sunshine, however, to go along with that. So no worries about rain today. However, the next rain chances will be making their way into town as we head towards next week. I'll have the latest details on those rain chances coming up. Josh?
Thanks, Chris. 5:42 is your time right now. A Japanese billionaire became the first passenger to book a seat on SpaceX's planned commercial flight to the moon this week. Yusaku Maezawa paid an undisclosed amount of money to travel on the company's new Big Falcon rocket. Elon Musk says the project will cost $5 billion to complete and could be ready as early as 2023. Maria Villarreal reports.
I choose to go to the moon. In front of a packed house, SpaceX founder Elon Musk introduced his newest partner in space exploration, billionaire Yusaku Maezawa. I thought about how I can give back to the world and how this can contribute to world peace. This is my lifelong dream. The founder of Japan's largest retail website, Maezawa purchased every seat on the trip and plans to bring up to 8 artists along for the ride. These artists will be asked to create something after they return to Earth. And these masterpieces will inspire the dreamer within all of us. The BFR rocket will be nearly 400 feet long and equipped with a reusable booster rocket that will produce 200 tons of thrust. The plan is to send passengers around the moon and back, a more than 475,000-mile journey in about 5 days.
This is a dangerous mission. But it's definitely dangerous.
I'm not afraid of at all. You're not afraid at all? No. Why? How? I trust the SpaceX team. But SpaceX has had problems meeting deadlines. Its last rocket, the Falcon Heavy, had its first successful launch nearly 5 years later than expected.
What makes you so sure that you can actually meet that 2023 deadline?
It's not 100% certain that we succeed in getting this to flight, but we're going to do everything humanly possible to bring it to flight as fast as we can and as safely as we can.
It's a risky investment 42-year-old Maezawa is willing to make for a shot at a lunar legacy.
5:44 this morning. The first day of fall comes later today, but the weather has already taken a turn. It's starting to feel like the new season. A very crisp start to this Saturday out there, but plenty of sunshine is on the way. Chris is in next with a full forecast on News 3 This Morning Saturday. But first, happy birthday to Brooke, Maisie, and all the other kiddos turning 3 today. We'll be right back after this.
Good morning, folks. As you step outside today, the first thing you'll notice, temperatures are much cooler than they were at this time yesterday. 26 degrees cooler in Madison, 28 degrees cooler towards the Dells. Black River Falls, 32 degrees cooler, and oddly enough, their temperature also 32 degrees. So they are at the freezing mark, one of the first areas in our viewing area to do it so far as we enter into the next cold season. 42 for us right now here in Madison. Clear skies outside as well in that dew point of 40. So temperatures are essentially going to level out right where they are now. Before the sun comes up, we begin to see our temperatures rebound just a little bit. But this cold front is just in time. Today is the first day of fall. The equinox will happen at 8:54 p.m. though. So in the meantime, in true honesty, we are in our last hours of summer right now. Winds coming out of the north, but they are rather calm as mentioned here in Madison. But as we go through the day, we'll see them begin to turn out of the south. That's an established wind that we are going to keep around as we head into your Sunday as well. So what you'll actually notice with temperatures is that they begin to warm up just a little bit. Let's take you hour by hour. 66 degrees this afternoon. Yesterday it was a struggle to get there once those temperatures began to drop. We won't get as cool tonight, but it'll be low 40s again. And then as we head into your Sunday, a strong southerly and southeasterly wind, that's when temperatures will make it into the low 70s once again. And here's what's happening. We have high pressure in control right now. That's working to keep us cool. That's going to work its way over towards the south and east. As that does so, that's when that southerly wind comes more into play. But then we're going to keep an eye on this next region of low pressure working out of the plains. That's going to bring the next rain chances. You'll notice those Monday and into Tuesday. We'll keep a close watch on them. They have the chance to be strong to severe, but I'm not overly impressed. What I'm really focusing on is the temperature drop that comes beyond it. 74 degrees as we get you towards Monday afternoon. By next weekend, it's going to be a struggle to get out of the 50s for a lot of those temperatures. So this morning, 42 to 60 by lunchtime. We'll see our highs right around 66 degrees this afternoon. Winds will be out of the southeast at about 6 to 12 miles per hour. Let's go through the next 7 to 10 days. The next rain chance, of course, on Tuesday. Temperatures after that are staying very fall-like. We'll have a couple midweek rain chances. None of them look too heavy as of now, but it's one of those patterns where you're just going to be in one of those setups where you get rain every couple days as these fall cold fronts come through. Say hello to Brandy in Oregon. Beautiful day to walk the pet, and it is going to be right around 65 degrees at 3 o'clock.
It's always that awkward, like, is it fall yet? Is it not? Some people say it's the first day of fall, and it's like, well, not officially.
That's right, and it's one of those things where while it is the first day of fall, yes, the equinox has not happened yet. Those last moments of summer.
Enjoy it while we can, right?
Yep.
All right, well, we've been asking you to share your morning with us. Check out this picture. Sue Wenginger posted this on Facebook. Such a beautiful shot right there. Thank you so much for sharing, Sue. What does your morning look like? Be sure to take a picture and post it to the Channel 3000 Facebook page, Twitter, or Instagram. Use that hashtag MyNews3Morning, and that's how we share our favorites right here on News 3 This Morning. 5:51 is your time. There's a full hour of News 3 ahead at 8 this morning. Then on our news at 6 and 10 tonight, we're heading to the Monroe Street for the annual festival, this year happening during a major construction project. But first, Christmas came early this year for a little boy battling a deadly disease. He may be fighting for his life, but this week he got a surprise of a lifetime. The heartwarming story you won't want to miss when News 3 This Morning Saturday continues. It is just about 5 minutes to 6, and it may be September, but this week Christmas came early for a young boy battling a deadly cancer.
And as Brad Underwood shows us, there are some things cancer just can't take away.
With a loud entrance, members of the Boone County Sheriff's Office and SWAT show off their toys for 2-year-old Brody Allen.
Look at that. Whoa.
Brody even got to sit in the driver's seat. But as cool as all this is, the officers have nothing on the next surprise guest. As he gets closer, Brody sees Santa, or as he likes to call him, Ho-Ho. Brody's cancer is terminal, so Christmas is coming in September for him and his family.
To have so many people across the world reach out to my son and to tell him Merry Christmas and we're thinking about you and we love you is just the greatest gift that I as a father could never give them.
Earlier in the week, the Christmas decorations started going up in Brody's neighborhood. Then cards started coming in the mail, and they haven't stopped.
We get people wishing him Merry Christmas from Belgium, Germany, Russia, Tasmania, Italy, all over the world. It's crazy, but he loves it.
All the presents, all the cards, and all the wishes may not compare to what Santa brought Brody today, a new puppy named Lucy.
Like your puppy?
Yeah. While the week has been full of visits, gifts, and attention, Mackenzie Allen says each night the family has its time with Brody.
We still have our private time, and it's great. We just sit on the floor, and play with his new toys that he got, and fall asleep watching movies or talking or giggling, whatever it may be. So we still get that family time.
And that's something that Brody's cancer can't and won't take from him, the love that surrounds him.
It's those little things, right?
Absolutely. Beautiful story there. Speaking of beautiful, our weekend will be beautiful, feeling like fall. Lots of sunshine out there. Now, temperatures aren't necessarily going to make it beyond 66 degrees today, but that's okay. 70s as we get you towards your Sunday with the southerly wind taking over. Same for Monday. Then our next cold front comes through, and that's going to send temperatures back into the 60s as we go through the middle of the week. Another reinforcing shot of cool air coming in on Thursday. Temperatures in the 40s after that. So a little bit of a roller coaster ride as we go through the next 7 days. But ultimately, we're gradually working our way into fall.
All right, Chris, thank you. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you at 8 o'clock for more News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Making plans that are weather dependent? Get an accurate 12-hour, even a 10-day forecast. Download the Channel 3000 First Alert Weather app and start planning.